YouTube? It's Pay. I'm back with another video, and today we're going to talk a little bit about Gunna and how essentially he was robbed of being Rapper of the Year for this year. He was robbed of running 2022. But I'm going to just break it down and get into that today. So basically, Gunna was arrested earlier this year, early in the year, I should say, as well. And as it typically goes, out of sight, out of mind, when somebody disappears for a while, people start to forget about them. And, that's not an indictment on that person or anything like that, but that's just how the human brain works, especially in this modern era where technology is so prevalent and we get so many new stories, so many new releases. Like, there's just so much going on all the time, every single day, that eventually stuff that happened months ago gets pushed into the back of our mind. That's just how it works. And so Gunna, unfortunately, when he was arrested, he's been kind of pushed into the back of our minds. But I don't want people to forget the type of run he was about to go on in 2022. Like, he was going pretty crazy before he got arrested. So obviously going into 2022, he already had some momentum from the end of the year in 2021 with the song Too Easy. And, he was building momentum going into his drop, which was going to be DS4, the fourth installation of the Drip Season series, a series that a lot of people had already really, really liked and really, really grown fond of over the years. So basically, this was supposed to be like the cap off of the series, and a lot of people were excited for it. There was, some speculation about some snippets that had been dropping online that people were really, really messing with. A lot of the snippets were really, really popular on TikTok, especially. Then the artwork for the album came out, the cover, and it's, a little strange in my opinion, but still for the most part, a lot of people really, really enjoyed it. I kind of still on the fence, but I do like it. And there was just a lot of hype for the project. Just a lot of people were very excited for this Gunna project, which, is typically the case with Gunna, but this one was just different. It just was a different level of hype for Gunna. And then prior to the album dropping, the whole P stuff came out.
The push and P, like, you gotta know the push and P of it. You feel me? Like, turn me up, P.
And that came with the entire marketing scheme, which the marketing for this project was very, very well done. I will say, the interviews and stuff, but the whole P stuff just took the marketing to a new level. So basically, Gunna just came out and started calling everything P or not P and using the P emoji a whole bunch. And, initially it was really, really confusing. I'm still a little confused. I mean, I get it for the most part, but it was just kind of confusing just out of nowhere. He just started saying P a whole bunch. And there was a whole bunch of arguments of who started it. Oh, it came from Atlanta. It came from, the Bay in California. Like, there was just a whole bunch of arguments surrounding it, but it got really popular, like really, really popular. Typically, stuff like that with celebrities where they try to start their own trend, like saying a certain slang word or trying to start a dance trend on TikTok, stuff like that. When they try to like force it, it typically doesn't like work. But for some reason, this one just took off. Like, everyone was saying P. There were a whole bunch of P memes. Like, it got to the point in which I literally, how like you scroll on Instagram and sometimes you get those like random ads, and it'll be like clothing lines or whatever. And it was like this graphic design for this clothing line, and they were making P shorts. Like, it was just shorts with the P emoji all over. Like, it was ridiculous, but it caught on. Like, P, push and P, all that. It was just everywhere. And then, of course, when the actual album came out, people loved the album. People, played it a whole bunch. Songs like Push and P, of course, were one of the biggest on the project. People just really, really enjoyed it. And I was one that did enjoy the project as well. I think it's probably still one of the better projects of 2022, especially rap projects. I really, really enjoyed it for the most part and have still found enjoyment in it to this day. Like, I still come back and listen to it. Especially a song like Living Wild. Like, I absolutely love that song. I'm pretty sure it's my favorite on the project. It's not one of the more popular ones, but man, I absolutely love that song. But still, the project did really, really well in terms of I keep saying really, really, I'm sorry. The project did well in terms of like fan enjoyment. Most fans liked the project. There wasn't a lot of people complaining about it or saying it's trash or anything like that. So what we were all waiting for after, when people basically decided that the project was good, was the numbers for it. We wanted to see the first week numbers. Now, I don't remember exactly what I said since this was so long ago. It was like 10 months ago at this point now. I don't remember exactly what I predicted. I'm sure I predicted somewhere around like 110, 115, 120. which would have been reasonable, and that would have been very, very high numbers for Gunna. Like those would have been really good numbers for him. But the project ended up doing like 154 first week, 155 first week, somewhere around there, which was insane. Like that was way, way more than pretty much anybody who was making record prediction or was making anybody that was making sales predictions. Like that was way higher than what most people predicted. And it was a really good sign. 150 for Gunna was huge. Like those are really big numbers. Like to put that into perspective, that is outselling, DS4 is outselling in terms of first week numbers any project that Young Thug has ever put out. And obviously I'm not saying that to say, oh, Gunna's better than Young Thug, because that's definitely not what I'm saying. But just to put it into perspective, like Young Thug is a very big artist. He's been around for a while. Now, obviously he doesn't have like a single album that in terms of like mainstream commercially everyone looks at and says, okay, that's for sure his biggest, but still outselling the master. It's like the student passing the master, like outselling, your mentor in terms of best first week numbers is still really impressive, especially a guy like Young Thug, who's like a staple of hip hop now. He's like, a top 10 rapper of the 2010s. Like, I don't think that's a hot take for me to say that. So for him to outsell every project that Young Thug's ever put out is really, really crazy. And to take it a step further, Gunna outsold The Weeknd. Like, The Weeknd, like he outsold him. And it wasn't by a lot, but still. And, The Weeknd's project didn't have a lot of promo for it coming into it. He announced it like a week in advance. But still, The Weeknd is one of the most streamed artists in the world, period. And streamed art, regardless of genre, regardless of country or anything like that, just most streamed artists in the world, he's one of them, for sure. So for Gunna to beat him for a number one album is really remarkable. Like, I think that accolade will go overlooked as time goes on, unfortunately. But if you really sit down and look at it, like, that's crazy as hell for a rapper like Gunna to beat out The Weeknd in first week sales and get that number one album. That was super impressive. And then to go along with the number one album, there was like some pictures of him at like a meet and greet, some videos. He looked pretty funny. He was wearing this huge coat. But to go along with the album having success in the first week, there was the deluxe, which was rumored and, eventually did come out with songs like P Power and Banking on Me, which went crazy. Both those songs, both of their snippets were going crazy on social media, but specifically Banking on Me was super, 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 super viral on TikTok. Like one of the most viral songs of the year, probably on TikTok in general. And, people were doing, little videos where they would like lip sync it in like suits and like, it was like they were like mimicking politicians to a certain extent when they were like, doing the motions or whatever. But it went super crazy. Like people were dying for these songs. And P Power did actually end up making it to the deluxe, but for some reason Banking on Me was on the deluxe, and then they re-released the deluxe and took Banking on Me off and released it as a single only, like maybe like a couple days or a week after that or something like that. It was released a little bit after the initial deluxe release, which didn't really make that much sense to me because like, I mean, sure, you want to push Banking on Me as a single because it was a really big song, but you can push it as a single and still put it on the deluxe. Like I didn't really understand that, but maybe they were just trying to, like boost the sales for Banking on Me specifically instead of just the deluxe. I don't know. I don't really know the reasoning. I'm just speculating at this point, but Banking on Me was a huge song and people still love that song. I love that song. I play it all the time. And, he was just on fire. Like Gunna he was on fire. And then after that, Lil Durk's 7220 drops and the song What Happened to Virgil on there. And What Happened to Virgil is definitely, again, one of the bigger songs of this year in hip hop. Like What Happened to Virgil is probably one of the top 5, top 10 biggest Lil Durk songs just in general. And it was super, super viral. Again, the music video did really, really well. Durk was performing it in concert everywhere. I'd actually seen him perform live. I'm actually wearing, I don't know if you can really see it. I'm actually wearing some tour merch from Lil Durk. Well, it's not from Lil Durk. Some dude on the street made it, but it looked better than Durk's. No offense. It looked better than Durk's official tour merch, so I bought this shirt. But yeah, I went to the concert and everything. He performed the song. It was great. But that song was super, super crazy viral. Like, Gunna was just going on that run where it was just like everything he touched was fire. Everything he was doing was going absolutely berserk. And now he's nominated for a Grammy, which, I mean, I don't really hold the Grammys to that high of a standard in terms of like what it means for rap, really. But still, it's still an impressive accomplishment regardless. Like, Gunna was going everywhere. And of course, we all know what Gunna typically does every single year. He goes on a crazy feature run. He features on everyone's album. And, he does his thing. But he wasn't able to do that this year, obviously. But now I'm getting into the point of, like, speculation. Like, I think it's pretty safe for me to say he would have ended up on Lil Baby's project. But there were a whole bunch of verses that were rumored to have been, like, removed. Not from just Lil Baby's project in general, but just Gunna verses that didn't come out. Obviously, because of the court case with YSL and, not wanting to incriminate yourself. Like, there was a whole bunch of stuff about that, or around that, I should say. But I think Gunna would have went on his usual feature run that he usually goes on, and he would have just been bodying everybody's songs, which he typically does. Like, Gunna would, he would have been he just would have been going crazy. That's all I'm trying to get across in this video, is that he already was going crazy before he got arrested, but he would have continued. Like, every single year, there's typically a guy where the public can point to them and be like, all right, this is their year. They're running this year. You may not like all their music. You may not be the biggest fan, but you can't deny that this rapper is everywhere. He's everywhere. He's all over everything. He's on everyone's project. He's doing his thing. He's performing. He's headlining shows. He's doing everything. Like think of like Future in 2015. Like, just everywhere. And I think Gunna would have easily been that this year. And again, like I mentioned before about headlining shows, Gunna was supposed to headline some festivals. Like, not just be on the card, but headlining them. And, obviously, again, got arrested. But, like, that YSL arrest really cut him at the knees. Like, it just cut him straight at the knees. Because everything that could go right was going right for Gunna this year. Like, he was going berserk. It just cut him straight at the knees. Like, I think Gunna was becoming a superstar. And I know that's, like, people say the word superstar all the time when they talk about everybody. They'll call anybody a superstar. But for me personally, the word superstar has a little bit of a deeper meaning. Like, there are only around 7 to 10 superstars in rap right now, at least in my opinion. You think of guys like Drake, Kendrick, Ye, right? Those are guys that are just, no doubt about it, superstars. I think there's only like 7 to 10, and I think Gunna was creeping into that range, right? Guys that can sell over 200K first week. Like, just guys that are super massive everywhere. They're not just solely rap popular. Everyone knows who they are. And, I would consider Lil Baby a superstar at this point. And I think Gunna was rising to that point. I'm not going to say he can't ever rise to that point and get there and stay there, but it's definitely going to be a lot harder now. Because in music, one of the hardest things to create or to recreate is momentum. And when you have momentum, you have to strike. You have to strike, because there's so many artists and there's so many different options for fans to choose to listen to every single day, every single week, with every single release that comes out, all 15 music releases that come out every single Friday. Like, there's so much music and so many people to listen to that when you get that push behind you, when you have that avalanche coming behind you, you have to make the best of it. You absolutely have to. And it's just really hard to recreate that moment. It's really hard. A lot of guys only end up with one really good run in their career. And that's not me, trying to downplay. I'm like, think of somebody like Fetty Wap. And I'm not saying that to say, oh, Fetty Wap's trash or anything like that. But there's a lot of guys who only get that one run. And after that, you might have your peaks, but you're definitely going to have your valleys as well. It's never going to be super consistent like it was. So I really hope that Gunna is able to recreate that momentum when he comes home. I know a lot of people are going to be hyped when he comes home, like the first week or month or whatever, but look at what happened with Bobby Shmurda. People were hyping up his return for 7 years, and they only really cared the first month when he came home. Like, that's what I mean. Like, momentum is very hard to recreate. Even though people were hyping up Bobby and they were so excited, it only lasted for like a month. Like, the peaks and the valleys, they come back. The peaks and the valleys. It's very hard to have that consistent push, that consistent rise to the moon, and it just sucks that Gunna's going to miss out on that. I don't know if he'll be able to recreate it. I have faith in him, and I think he's a good enough artist to, but it's just really, really hard to do, man. It's really, really hard to do. Again, like, I don't know what's going to happen with the trial. I don't know if he's going to get bond. I don't know anything about anything, but it just sucks that he can't come home right now and cash in on all that success he was having. It's not like he can just snitch and get out of it. Like, Gunna's not a guy that's, a super hard gangster rapper, street rapper, like a Lil Durk or King Von, to where, like, you hold him to this standard. But even still, he couldn't do something like that, especially to somebody like Young Thug, who's been there from day one, putting food on his table. Like that would kill his career. I talked about his career getting cut off at the knees. That would cut his career off at the neck. It would be over. It would be 100% over for Gunna if he snitched on YSL. So that's not really an option, but I just want people to really realize how good of a year Gunna was having. I don't want that to go unnoticed. He was easily going to be rapper of the year, right? In 2022. I don't really know who it is now. You know, there's a whole bunch of guys, maybe Youngboy. I don't really know, maybe Drake, but it was going to be Gunna. I just want you guys to know that, and I don't want people to forget what he was doing before that arrest, because it was quite remarkable. The dude outsold The Weeknd. The Weeknd, bruh. But hey, that's just hip hop, man. It's you're up 1 minute and you're down the next. But hey, if you made it this far, I appreciate you for watching this whole video. If you liked the video, leave a like, subscribe. If you hated the video, tell me why I'm an idiot. Tell me why Gunna's trash. Tell me why he wasn't doing anything in 2022. And tell me why outselling The Weeknd doesn't really matter and it's not that big of an accomplishment. But either way, whether you liked this video or hated it, I appreciate you for making it this far. Thank you and have a good day. Peace.